Hey everyone, this is Cindy. It's August 8th, 2025. This is the hour. Um, I don't even remember what we called it. But we're reading Resurrection. Um, and Sandra and Amy have been facilitating our experience. Though our habit has been to begin with a clip from Paul Selig, and I have one set up. It's possible we listened to this before, but I'm certain it'll be a new experience. Here we go.
You actually decide what your own worth is, or your idea of worth, through a common field that always says that some are more worthy than others. You're always looking for your worthiness through something that you get, or can achieve, or be seen as worthy for you. Your worthiness is actually your inheritance. It is already yours. And God within, which is your heir, which is the one who knows you, as within and without, must always be present. Is heir the right word? He corrects us. In some ways, yes. Now, you've understood the term of Son of Man, whatever that means, but we would like to explain it very differently. The Christ principle, and the Christ, as we always say it, is the active principle of the Creator that can be known in form, is of source. It is the heir to the kingdom. As it releases through you, it claims the kingdom. One of the first teachings we gave to Paul when he was a very young man, freedom comes when the throne relinquishes its king, is this teaching. Who sits in the throne? Who is heir to the throne, which is the divine self? When the divine self claims the throne, it is operating in union with its source. The personality structure, reared through the common field, which has done the best it knows how, is intact in some ways and vastly altered in other ways because it is no longer operating as the principle of source which it has mistaken itself for. Some of you say, "Look at me, I am God." And while there is an aspect of that is accurate, it is vastly misunderstood. The aspect of the self that knows itself as of God does not differentiate the God within itself and within others because it knows itself in union. It is not riding in a solitary parade, waving its flag, saying, "Look at my fine divine self." It is too busy witnessing the divine in all around it, in all that presents and can be known and seen. Now, when we teach, we listen to the body of the man and its requirements from us. We are going to push him today if we can, so we may continue our lectures as we have planned them. There will be ample time for questions. He is asking, will we attune you today? We will do some of the attunements, yes, today, some in other days. But the responsibility of this class is actually to invite you to the realization of the God within you, or the aspect of God come as you, that knows itself through all things. Notice we said through. God through the thing I see before me. God through the sky, and then God as the sky. God through the body, then God as the body. God as my neighbor, through my neighbor, with all my neighbors, in all things. There is a trajectory here that is actually an altering of the vibrational fields to actually encompass all things. We want you to understand that while the divine light that is within you can be seen as precious and holy, it can also be understood as fierce and all-encompassing. The blaze that is the candlelight may need to be protected with your hands as it catches fire upon all other things. But the divine self that is you knows itself in fullness, and once ignited, will seek the process of reclamation of all that it encounters as and through you. I know who I am. I know what I am. I know how I serve. How you serve is how you express at this level, or how the flame as you, in reclamation of aspects of you, then reaches to ignite or utilize itself as a tonal frequency that actually claims all things to it. Imagine that there is one pitch, one note sung in the entire world, universe, whatever you wish to say. We call it the one note sung. And as this one note expresses through you, it actually claims all things that it encounters in realization. Realization means knowing. Now, this does not make you a sage nor a prophet. It simply makes you you, without the idea of self that has been cordoned off, operating in separation, because it did not know anything other. We know other, and we know you as other. The claims that we offer these days as we see you before us, when we see you before us, is not only reminder, it is the utilization of this teaching in ways that you will utilize yourselves as well. Every text that we've offered has had some form of introduction or some claim that was made repeatedly. When we see you before us, as we see you before us today, it is a way to speak with you, not only with vision, but through the alignment that perception holds. The one who sees another as of God is actually knowing them or realizing them at that level of tone or strata. The conditioning you've had would refute this, but we will promise you now. We will not refute this with you. We will call you forward. We will see you as you are. We will know you as you can only be known in truth. You may say these words after we speak them, if you wish. On this day I claim that I will allow all aspects of me to be reknown, to be reseen, in the high template that is the upper room. And as I say yes to this, I will be met in perfect ways at the level of tone that I can hold and align to. I give permission to this of my own free will. And as I say yes, 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 I am indeed met by those who support me in my realization. You may say this as well. I know who I am in truth. I know what I am in truth. I know how I serve in truth. I am free, I am free, I am free.
Good morning, everyone. It's so nice to see you. I think I want to start by just sharing briefly the experience that I had yesterday and last evening. When we were in Amy's class and reading the Course in Miracles, I was barraged with doubt, self-doubt, a lot of self-doubt. It came through. And at first it was very uncomfortable. But then I was gently spoken to by Amy and others. And as I went into the evening, I realized what a gift that was. You know, the personal self always wants to resist anything uncomfortable. And yet I was given this gift of being surrounded by loving people, helping me to understand something I didn't understand. And it was such a gift. that I had no intention of sharing this, but it just came out right now. So I want to thank you for that. And that's part of what is happening as we're being called to the upper room, I think. At least I know that's what's happening in this experience. And that is, everything is a gift. And by contemplating it and contemplating the doubt and I was even thinking, what are you doing leading anything tomorrow? You don't know anything. The egoic voice, just came right in. And yet here we are all worthy. We're all divine beings. And we're here to help one another. So thank you for helping me. And today we're on page 19. We're still in chapter 1. And I would like to know if any of you would like to help read this morning. Come on, Amy, Cindy, and Libby. Okay. I'm writing it down.
And Patricia.
And Patricia. Thank you, Patricia. Writing these down because as I get older, I forget what I just happened 3 minutes ago. I don't know if that happens to any of you, but that's where I am. And we're in this beautiful book that has so much to offer us. So Amy, I wrote your name down first. Would you start us off?
Sure. We ask you questions now about your lives. Who do you think you are? What do you think you are? And how do you describe service? The template you have been offered by this teaching actually transposes all of those questions to a higher way of receiving them. You think you are the name that you were born with. You think that what you are is the body or the occupation you have taken. You think how you serve is what you do for the benefit of others. While there is truth to all these ideas, there are other ways of comprehending the meaning of them. The divine self as who, the I am self, the one who knows who it is the one in reclamation of the being that you are. It is not other than you. It is the truth of you. So you are giving yourself to the truth of self at the cost of the lies that you have been taught to believe should be the truth. The what that you are, the manifest what, must also be of God, because all things are of God, and how you serve is how this God expresses, less so what you do than how you be. That's it right there.
Livy, we're on page 19. And there's a place called, you see the pause? We started right under the pause. Wasn't that beautiful, Amy?
So beautiful. So beautiful. And the ego says, well, the I am self is boring. Right? There's nothing to it. It's just emptiness. Right? Huh.
Any comments, anyone? Okay, Amy, keep going.
Okay. Now, the broadcast we are in with you now is indeed an expression of service, but your idea of who you are, of holding this capacity to be in radiance or expression as the divine, impacting what you encounter is still framed by the idea of the small self's capacity for it. Now, the small self has done the best he or she can. She will always do the best she can. But the aspect of you that is coming into being, the expressed true self, the triumphant self, withstands all things because it cannot be conquered by anything other. The divine, as you know, the divine as you knows no fear, not even fear of death, because the divine as you knows itself in eternity. So that answers the question, or addresses the question. The ego thinks that the I am self is boring. The I am self is everything. It's the full expression. It's all of it. It's anything but boring. It's total and complete creative extension. Thank you.
The line that jumped out at me was holding this capacity to be in radiance as or expression as the divine radiance. And I just had this urge to say, that's what I see when I look at each of you. I see radiance. Even if you don't see it or feel it. And for those of you who are not visually available to me right now, I feel your radiance. I feel it. It just comes through. Isn't that miraculous? How far apart we are, and yet this vibrational field that we have emanates.
Mm-hmm.
It's the sparkly effect that I've spoken about before. It's like you sparkle. It's radiant. William. Good morning, dear William.
Well, good morning. What I get is I don't really serve, but it is God that's serving through me. So that just really comes strong. Wow. I don't have to worry about it. Don't have to try. It's not me doing it, but it's God through me. It just feels like so direct and loving.
Yes. Okay, Cindy, you're next on my list to read the next paragraph, please.
Can I just say one more thing?
Of course. You can say 10 more things.
I just want to say one. The second to the last line, but the aspect of you that is coming into being, the expressed true self, the triumphant self, I like that word too, withstands all things because it cannot be conquered by anything other. That's another way of the Indigoism, everything is for me, right? It stands with all things. The triumphant self stands as all things, allowing all things to arise within its purview, within its experience. It withstands because nothing can harm it. Nothing can overwhelm it. Nothing can make it anything other than what it is. Nothing can conquer it. It is always its true self, which is what we are in our experience.
Yes, so perfect. Can't mess, and I comes in my mind is we can't mess it up. We think we can mess it up, but we're not going to mess it up. Carol Howell used to say that to me all the time. You can't mess it up. Patricia, good morning, sweetie.
Good morning, dear ones.
Mm.
And I can't believe it's the end of the week. I will miss you on Saturday and Sundays and look forward to seeing you on Monday. Now, that's in the future. In this here and now, what I'm most aware of is an experience I had last night as just another, or yesterday afternoon. Things were happening and there was negative energy. It was not a positive energy going around. And it didn't bother me. It was like, okay, accepting it, sending love where it was needed. When I send love, it's like, may the Holy Spirit surround you. That's all I say. But there was a sense of peace in that acceptance. It's like when I'm in the awareness and I'm in the now and I'm in that sense of peace, it's like stuff that comes at me just bounces back out. It's a very interesting experience. And I just wanted to share that with you. And reading this reminded me of that. The divine, as you know, knows no fear, not even fear of death, because the divine, as you know, knows itself in eternity. So it's like that phrase that I seem to be living in or contemplating these days, which is the, pardon me, that creative energy, which is in all of us. It's like entering into that is such a peaceful and joyful place.
Mm.
So no matter what's going on outside, I can go there. It's not out there, it's in here. Yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you for sharing that. Okay, Cindy, your turn. You're up. Next paragraph starts with now you've chosen.
Thank you. Now, you've chosen to incarnate to have this life you are living now. And your expression of it may be the perfect expression for this lifetime. So please, not one of you think we are telling you that you are doing something wrong. I feel like Sonia just said that. We are simply claiming you beyond the boundary and the false boundary that has been operating in your systems. Paul is seeing a coloring book. The lines have been drawn. The child is taught not to draw outside the lines. We are drawing outside the lines. We are drawing outside the lines because you are boundless in vibration. You just ascribe to an idea of limitation. Just bringing up some of the more recent teachings from the guides, where they're clearly stating that we're living in a common field of where we're assuming so many things based on history, like even that's grass or this is a picture. They're not suggesting that we drop naming things, but even what I was listening to this morning that was just channeled last night, they I think that's where it was. But at least the teaching that as soon as we name something, we limit it. And just because it has always been known to be this way, like even this idea that we need a government in order to be okay is assumed by the collective as a way of being. And softening around assumptions seems to be a big part of what's happening, at least in my experience right now.
Oh, I love that. Love that. I want to share something before I call in Richard. I take long walks with my husband, and we have these beautiful paths here in nature, and we live near a nature preserve for birds. And whenever I'm walking with him, he wants to like, that's the so and so, that's a blue heron, that's this. Look at that tree. And I'm walking along in a whole different vibrational field than that. I'm walking along just taking everything in, the beauty, and every time he tries to get me to focus in on that particular bird, I have to like, it takes effort to get back. It's like condensing. Amy's nodding, she gets that. Okay, so I have to say, honey, I love that you love naming things, but I would really like to not hear all the names. Because there's something about the naming, what you just said, Cindy, that limits it in some way. It puts it into some structured pattern that the brain wants to put it in a category. Okay, Richard. Thank you for raising your hand, Richard.
Morning, everyone. I want to share, I'm prompted to share an experience I had this morning during meditation, and relates to, I think, what we're reading right now. And what it was we keep hearing from all these teachers, all these systems of metaphysics, that in truth we are light. And light is all there is. And what does light do? Light radiates. You can't put light in the box, it just radiates. And that's its nature. So if we are light, then we radiate all the time, infinitely. And we radiate this energy that we call love. But it's really the light that we are. And so we bring the light that we are everywhere we go, regardless of what we are, what we're manifesting as. Whether we're manifesting as a light or a body that we seem to be experiencing in this dimension or density, we are still basically the light that we are. And we're radiating the light that we are. And we're all trying to radiate as much light as we can that represents who we really are. And our conditioning cheeses out of, because we believe our conditioning, we are not radiating as much light as we like to light, a light to radiate. What we're radiating, and like you all said, whether we don't want to or not, we're still radiating a light all the time, and we're just not recognizing them. So when I think about our group meeting, we're all radiating our light to it, and we become one. We become our own little collective, our own little guides. This is the an open door guide, or whatever we'll find the name, because when we're in this state of radiating, and we're recognizing we're radiating a light that we are a one force, radiating a light that we all independently think we are, but we're willing to claim it as the light of the group. So, love you all. I love us all.
I love that. Thank you, Richard. Cindy, would you like to keep reading?
I can. And the first clip that Suzanne sent to me when I decided I wanted to know more about the guides was this little clip where the guides were suggesting you go up to something, and I went up to this very large bush, and instead of assuming you know what it is, ask it to tell you what it is. That was my very first introduction with the guides, was was an instruction to go up to something. And for me, I don't remember their words, but I went up. There was this like 10-foot long, like tree bush thing that was in a pot in Mexico, and ask it to tell you what it was. It's an extraordinary experience, and it drops the assumptions, and there was an energy exchange. So anyway, figured I'd share that.
Yes, and I just want to add that when we were listening this morning, did anybody pick up on the qualities the guides were saying, like, yes, we were beauty and love, and then they said precious and holy. They used words I had never heard before. Fierce and starting a blaze, which I thought of when you were speaking, Richard and Cindy. And then I thought of the burning bush in the Bible. It's like all these things having to do with light and energy and how it comes into being through us. It's the word awe. I mean, I'm in awe. Fierce. Yay, Simi, yeah. Like that.
This is my fierce shimming. I don't know. Fierce is not a word I've ever associated with.
I have never, but didn't they say that? Did I mishear that? I think they said fierce.
All right. Shall I read this next paragraph,
Yes, please.
or until somebody stops me? Now, when we teach through you, Paul, and when we teach to our students, we utilize your energy field as an amplifier of the tone that we are broadcasting. But the purpose of this is to activate the student through co-resonance. Because we sing this high note, that means the note can be sung. And because you hear the note or feel the note in your field, you move into an agreement to the note, which lifts you to the octave of it and the expression of it in vibration. At this level, there are aspects of self that cannot cohere and will fall or disassemble themselves. Now, some indeed will put up a fight. If I am not the best, I must be the worst. If I don't find love tomorrow, I will never find love. Whatever the edicts of the small self have been that have become so entrenched that you self-identify through them will be the challenge you have to encounter, because no one gets to do this while carting their dirty laundry up to the upper room and sitting upon it, not willing to address it. You will address the dirty laundry. You will address the old pain. You will address the circumstances of childhood. Yes, not to blame your parents or blame yourself, but to say objectively, this is what I experienced, and it is not who I am. It gives me information about how I perceived myself and a world, but it has never been who I am. It has been something that I have appropriated, a narrative, if you wish, that I seek to confirm in my daily life. One of the things that I've been noticing through this work is where I set limitations upon myself in like really big ways, like having money to do certain things, or how often do I tell myself I'm not in relationship. Those are the two kind of big ones that'll show up. And this work, well, it's just lighting up this understanding that there's a structure that has been created based on past believing, but it's not who I am. And the other part of it that like really lit up as I was reading this is the understanding that if I see it anywhere in the world, it is a potentiality within me. Like the guides over and over and over again state that whatever this is, whatever you want to say I am is, I am in agreement to, in accord with everything I see. So if I am seeing healthy relationships, that means there is, there is the potentiality here. If I am seeing unlimited wealth, there's this potentiality here. And the dirty laundry, what they call the dirty laundry, are all the spaces in this structure that I've been walking around with, that the guides continually tell me is not necessary for me to walk around with. So that's what has come up as I read it. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, they're very direct here, aren't they? They're not dancing around and calling it something else. That's your dirty laundry. Okay, Livy. Good morning, Livy.
Good morning. It's good to be with y'all today. I missed being with you yesterday. Um, yeah, that you will address the old pain, you will address the dirty laundry, you will address, everything that we're going to address. And that's so what I'm experiencing in just in this course that I'm taking, and just realizing, and I'm going to be doing some more journaling today, but it's giving me what's happening with me. It feels like is the recognition and understanding blocks to love's presence, and those things that keep me blocked from that, what the thoughts that I have, the conditioning that I have, the way, the thinking mind works. And I'm just really, really grateful that I have the opportunity to even be willing to look at those parts of and I was just going to say the parts of myself, the smallest self, having that understanding and understanding what it's basing its now moment on. And when I can remember to keep everything right here, right now. And, but the best way that I'm getting through that is through the muck and the mire and the shedding. And, they talk about the peeling of the onion, and that's way too neat for me. It's more like a snake shedding its skin, because it can be kind of uncomfortable as it transforms to, as things are adjusting. And so I'm just really, really grateful to be here, and really grateful for y'all who continue to guide me on this journey of oneness, and being the am that I know I am, that y'all are, that we all are, that it is, that I am nothing and I'm everything, and really delving further into that and what that really means, and not just doing lip service to things anymore, to really getting down into it, because I see that it's a better, not e- I see, I'm just love what I'm seeing, and what doing the work is allowing me to see, and allowing me to recognize is that's not true. That's not the truth of who I am. And yeah, so I'm just really grateful. Thank y'all so much.
That
Thank you.
is the direct experience, what Libby's talking about. It's the direct non-dual experience.
Can you say more about that, Amy?
There are other people who have their hands up, so I just wanted to point that out. It's the knowing that through the direct experience of seeing where the dirty laundry is, and seeing it let go, and then experiencing, I am happier when I let this go. I am happier when I see that this is not true, and I live my life from that.
Yes,
That's
that's
absolutely direct non-dual.
perfect. Thank you. William.
maybe to follow up a little there, what I'm really experiencing is that it's I'm not that, I'm not that, I'm not that. It feels like I experience closer to who I am as I see, feel, look at that dirty laundry. Not that, not that, not that. And I love the word co-resonance because what I then see is the words livingness and beingness. To me, that's so present now, aware, just that presence awareness, more and more and more. But it's like the combination. I'm not that, I am this. I'm not that, I am. And in seeing a movie last night, I see that co-resonance. I saw me, I saw whatever this is. It's that lovingness that I saw, the lovingness that I felt. And like you were saying, Sandra, with your husband, when I asked my wife, what did you get or what that triggered you? I'm not interested in about that on the TV. It's more what that triggered, that reminder, that co-resonance that I was feeling. And it's seeing the light in others that makes me so aware of the light coming through me. So I just feel that over and over and over. And I love looking at the dirty laundry, whatever that means, because not that, not that, not that. And what the dirty laundry for me is just this simple word, words, words, words. That's the dirty laundry. And I see more and more. Oh, oh, I see. That's what I've been doing. And I love looking back and saying, oh, I'm not that. I used to think that, but I'm not that. This is now. This is now. This is now. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, beyond the edicts of the small self, that grabbed me, the edicts of the small self. Richard, I think you're next. Then Patricia.
What came to mind was when I mentioned the dirty laundry was miracle principle number 7. Miracles are everyone's right, but purification is necessary first. And this is a way of purifying. The whole Course in Miracles is about healing the mind. And so healing the mind says getting rid of all your mistaken beliefs and concepts and recognizing what you are in truth. And I think the guys are saying the same thing. I think that's what Linda is teaching when they talked about the what's the process? Netty comes to mind, but what is that called? Self-reflection? No.
Self-inquiry.
Self-inquiry, yeah. So that's the same thing. And we're trying to get rid of, like Libby said, we're trying to get rid of the block to our awareness of love's presence by recognizing that many of the things we believe are real are not real. And many of the concepts we hold are not valid. So we have to be willing to, at least my experience has been, I have to be willing to surrender all that I love some of my beliefs and concepts I really love, but I need to get rid of them if I really want to be highest on the upper room. I need to be train myself to be at a point where I'm willing to let them go. So.
Yes, I remember Eckhart Tolle saying once that when you start letting go of the constraints of the small self, the ego can get vicious. And I know I've felt that. Almost feels like a physical attack. And yet the truth is there. it's for the taking. So, okay, Patricia, you're up.
Thank you. We all have dirty laundry. We share that in common. I know I have a basket full I gotta do, and I have a basket full inside myself. And one of the things of Helen Hamilton is saying yes to everything. Oh, yes, it's back. That little piece of I'm not this, I'm not enough, blah, 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 blah. I'm not this, I'm not. Rather than, oh, yes, I'm not that. Bravo. Because by accepting it, rather than trying to fight it and transform it, by accepting it, what I'm finding, and I'm real appreciative to Helen Hamilton for this teaching, that by accepting it, I don't have to live there. I can wash it. I can put it in the washing machine and go, yes, maybe I need to add a little bit of something else to this wash. Okay. I'm not Beth.
Yes, instead of like I used to call it a wrestling, I was in a wrestling match with my ego and I was never winning. The ego was wrestling the ego. And now it's like a joyful process. It's actually joyful. And I think we have a new metaphor we can share with the washing machine and the dirty laundry.
I don't find it joyful sometimes, but for myself. But what I do find is when I accept it, it lightens up. It lightens the load. Let's put it that way. It's in the washing machine.
Richard.
What Patricia reminded me of was in the first paragraph we read today, I think the thought came into my mind, when you accept that you're everything, then it's much easier to laugh at what you're experiencing when you believe you're everything. So instead of believing you're this or that, or I'm in the ego thought system, or I'm a separate self, or I'm just everything. I'm experiencing everything. So, and in that, there's a lot of joy and a lot of laughter to be had if you're willing to laugh at yourself. And I'm enjoying that more and more every day because there's a lot to laugh at.
True. It does lighten everything. William says, I am finding that just noticing is so much easier than trying to accept or changing the belief. Just noticing. So, Livy, I think you volunteered to read, and you're up next. And we're in the middle of page 21.
When you stop confirming the old is no longer present. And the circumstances the old has claimed, be it loneliness, be it ill health, be it economic failure at the level of the personal self or the country, can be addressed. You must understand that this process of articulation is happening within and without. The country and all countries are undergoing this, just as the individual is. That which has been held in darkness, now brought to the light to be seen and resurrected. When a planet is made new, all things are seen anew. And the claim we have offered, quote, behold, I make all things new, is indeed the witnessing of the divine self upon what God has created. When the divine sees the divine, or when the divine witnesses the divine, where the divine has previously been denied, all things are made new. You will become the conduit for this sight as you integrate these teachings. They will become effortless. You will stop seeking to damn your brother, damn this one or that, these people over there or those over here. those over there and those over here, just all of them, because of the sense of satisfaction it might bring you. You will understand the cost, and you will understand that the cost is the removal from the upper room or the higher energetic strata to the low realm where the battles will ensue. There is no battle in the upper room. This does not mean you turn a blind eye to injustice. It means you bring the light to where the darkness has been. And if you are called to action, you will act. But please remember this, friends. Self-righteousness is always the small self. The true self does not judge because she comprehends the unique ability of each individual to learn through his or her own creation. She is not the arbiter of justice. She does not seek to punish or defile. She has come in love, and in love is great power. The song that she sings or expresses as can indeed topple walls, reclaim all things, make all things new. We will continue this chapter when we speak next. We thank you for your presence. Stop now, please. Period, period, period. Wow. Wow.
What strikes you as well, Livy?
Just the word that's coming up big time is just freedom. Just the freedom that comes through, and that, behold, I make all things new. Just that, that no matter what my dirty laundry is or what I'm bringing up, that the truth makes everything new again. I get a visual of like a garden and the weeds being pulled out, and you can see all these just amazing flowers that are coming through. So yeah, that was just beautiful. I'm gonna stop talking now so others can talk. Thank you for letting me read.
Thank you, Livy. Amy?
I hope I'm not stealing Cindy's story here, but last night, yesterday afternoon, Cindy brought a story to the group about going for a walk in the morning and finding a raccoon caught in a net. And she described this scene that was really difficult because the raccoon was so entangled it was killing itself. And raccoons are big creatures and they can be very, when they're panicked, they can do some damage. And this saying that there's no battle, this paragraph, there's no battle in the upper room, this does not mean you turn a blind eye to injustice. It means you bring the light to where the darkness has been. Cindy's story has stayed with me. Her experience has stayed with me, and as she shared it, and this really resonates for me with Cindy's experience, because as Cindy told the story, in my experience, she tried to do whatever she could do reasonably to assist. She called the police, she called the animal control, and she felt, as all of us would feel, this sense of injustice, what the universe is doing, this helplessness, this and a sense of guilt that rose because she felt like she wanted to do something, but she felt like she couldn't do anything. She didn't have the tools to do anything. But when she sat down and went through the dyad process and then worked after the dyad process, she let go of the guilt. And when the guilt, and this relates to what Livy just said, when the guilt was removed from awareness, other things from awareness, the light of awareness came into the situation. And that light of awareness allowed other information, like calling the church, to come in. And so what really struck me was when I first heard the story, what I heard from Cindy was cause and effect. Like there was this thing, and when that caused something, and then Cindy responded in a way, and there was an effect based on, it was all cause and effect in the story. But then I just realized it wasn't. It was just removing the veil of guilt and then seeing the expanded opportunities from that. And that's kind of what this paragraph brings to me. It brings you the light where the darkness has been. It takes the weeds out so that you can see the flowers on the ground that have always been there. They just haven't been visible. And I just wanted to share that.
Thank you. Thank you, Amy. Well, as you were speaking, at some point I realized I have access to wisdom. There's access to wisdom, and it doesn't have to be me figuring it out anymore.
No.
And that was like huge. That was a huge leap, I guess.
Yeah. It's not what you don't have to work at it. You just
Yes.
let the other stuff go.
Yeah.
It's
And
the opposite. It's the inverse.
we've actually heard this back in my school days. I had to study people who were gifted, like Einstein, and how they would just stop trying to figure it out, go take a nap, and wake up, and the answer would appear. They had this access to wisdom. And we all have it. It's not just Cindy who has it. We all have it. It's really a letting go, isn't it? Now, I don't remember, I'm not very good, so I'm so listening to people. Who raised their hand first, Cindy or Patricia? Patricia. Thanks for helping me with that.
I'd like to continue with the Cindy story. Cindy, you went through all of what you would think would be the most helpful, to the fire station, making this call, making that call. And finally, when you stopped, you called the church, and the church was the one that said, yes, we will attend to this right away. So it's like turning to God. I mean, one could use that as a metaphor, turning to God for help. And I was very struck by that just came to you. And it was beautiful.
Okay, Cindy.
Just for clarification, the soccer net was on church property, so it wasn't like it was the large Roman Catholic Church on Grand Island, and there's a school attached, and the soccer net that all this took place was on the church property, which is, yeah. It wasn't that story. It's actually a slightly different story, and then a request, because we talk about what can we do. I was listening to someone talk to Helen, and I can't remember exactly what this, and it was Helen. Sometimes Helen and Paul are sounding alike to me these days, which is a very interesting thing. But the question this woman had was, she said that she had family members that had been in concentration camps in the Holocaust. And she said, it is almost impossible for me to believe that they individually had this low level density karmic patterns that blah, 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 or even that whole society that, the Jewish people in Europe had this consciousness that required this type of whatever. She's like, this is very hard for me, from a cause and effect kind of thing to understand. it was the response that I've been walking around with. And the response, I can't even remember which audio this was. The response from Helen was that there's only one mind and there's only one collective. So there was the human, and she's like, there's even this pointing that collective isn't quite the right word. If we look at all the lights and the one light from Amy's vision, but that was a period of time where there was a purification or a rising in consciousness that was occurring for the human consciousness. And there is no doer, thinker, chooser. That was Helen this week. Therefore, the idea that individuals were suffering during the Holocaust is a misperception, because there's no such thing as a separate individual. The human, and we could, because it was presented out, there are the Gaza today and different places where thousands of people are starving. She was pointing to the same thing that I hear from the guides. There is no such thing as an individual problem. There's a human consciousness that's going through transformation, and the dirty laundry is coming up so that we could agree to choose differently and allow it to be cleaned, which is extraordinary for me. And we all, without self-righteousness, which is where this came up, right? So there's no individual, but am I allowing the inspiration to flow through, whether it is to make a phone call or to do this or to do that? Sometimes it's just wording for a circumstance in a situation which is extraordinarily transformative. Sometimes it's making a phone call. Sometimes it's going to a planning board meeting, and they're all the same, right? So here's the individual inspired request. I haven't seen Barbie in a couple of days. I can't remember the last time we saw Barbie. It's this week, but she wasn't there yesterday. And I know it. I sent a text and I didn't respond. And there's this energy of Barbie always lets me know. Like, I get a message from Barbie when she has a dentist appointment and she can't make a meeting. And I haven't seen her, I think, since Wednesday. And so the request is, can we take a 10 seconds right now and word for Barbie, if that's okay. And it's just a matter, and because that is doing something, isn't it? That is allowing the creation of the divine to touch the world. And so the guidance, I am word, I am word through this vibration. Word, I am word through all I see before me. I am word through my friend that I've labeled, that is labeled Barbie. Word, I am word. I am word through all of my thoughts concerning Barbie. Word, I am word. I am word through the one I see before me. I am word through Barbie's story. I am word through Barbie's body. Word, I am word. Thank you. I feel a shift. That's what I had.
Thank you, Cindy. I want to add on to what you said. As you talked about the Holocaust and the vibrational field and that it was not individual, and then you shifted to a care and concern for an individual. And to me, that was an important shift, because as you were talking about the Holocaust, I was thinking of what came to mind was the individual anguish that individualized beings suffered. And some without knowing the truth of who they are, or without realizing it. And then you shifted to the compassion for the individual, which I think cannot be lost. It's not really self-righteousness to say, oh, that was horrible or wrong. It was just in my mind, and I don't know what I'm saying here. I can't pretend like I come from some knowledge of this, but in my mind, it's not either or, it's both and.
If I could just
It's
add, yeah, for
collective,
me,
it's the
yeah,
collective, and it's also the individual.
right. For me, the shift in general that I'm sitting with, as we were talking, Amy was pointing out that Livy was describing direct experience. For me, that's the shift. So I'm very careful that whenever I talk about the Holocaust, for instance, I'm not talking about direct experience. I can't know, right? So what I am discussing is assumptions made based on a human collective interpretation of history. I'm not saying the Holocaust didn't happen, by the way. I'm just acknowledging that I'm responding to thoughts, not to direct experience. And and the understanding that the human history in general has been arising for, I could get lost in my belief about the suffering for others and whose names I don't know. So for me, that's something that's going on in the intellectual that oozes out into my emotion. Then all of a sudden, I think I know something that I don't know. My experience with our friend Barbie's feels intimate and personal and direct. She's someone that I see at least 5 times a week, typically. And she's now a missing part of the Cindy experience for whatever reason. I don't know. So it feels like an intimate, direct experience. And that's the difference between those two parts of the story. But yeah.
Thank you, Cindy. William.
What comes to my mind is that I find myself feeling the individual pain and suffering, and I think of how Sadhguru exhibits and manifests the inclusivity of the total picture of everyone, mankind, the whole ecology. It's almost like I can do both. I can be present with the pain and suffering and still knowing that it takes me into a much bigger picture. And I just love that feeling. It's like that's something that we all can do. So it's like the joining of one mind while at the same time experiencing that in uniqueness. So somehow I know with someone presently, so much pain they're going through, and I'm with them, but at the same time, there's this rest of me that's holding the space for them, not that they're able or willing right now to be beyond where they are because they're doing the best they can right now. So I'm allowing that. And I think about this awareness. I'm seeing that like Hamid Hamza, with gentleness, with love, slowing down, awareness and gentleness. That's something that's so easy to do if I'm willing to let go of my wanting to fix, change. And I just see, wow, that is much simpler. And that's also addressing this that I share with life, which is trying to fix other people to fix myself. Wait a minute. It's me also growing. So there goes the self-righteousness. It's just, it's not even relevant. Oh, but I own it and be aware of it. Be aware of it. Thank you.
I find that your words to be so perfect for what I was trying to express. So I thank you for that. It was perfect. Izzy, hi. So glad I get to see you. I felt your presence.
Oh, you guys, I just gotta say, when I came into this meeting, I was feeling physically like crap. And now I am ready to go out and conquer the world. Thank you so much. You're the best little doctor that I ever had.
Your
You're
smile is
fierce.
so nice to
You're
see.
fierce.
Fierce, yes.
You're actually glowing.
Thanks. Well,
Oh,
I mean, to know that what's going on physically can be shifted with some love, shifted completely with love. I mean, how freeing is that, really?
hugs. Hugs.
Thanks. Hugs back.
Well, we're at 11:11, and it seems like a good stopping place to me instead of picking up day 5. So, Patricia, you're first up next week. Remind me, or Amy, remind one of us. William.
I just want to. Here's a strong thought I had early this morning in a event I could. What I'm seeing in the social political situation, it's almost like creating conditions where people lose their job, then turning around and paying them to do a different job. So it's like creating an army, a private army. I'll take care, I'll feed you, I'll pay you, but first I'm going to take away your livelihood. So somehow, and then when I am aware of this feeling here in this group, that's really not my concern, but to see the total picture. And I'm seeing this as I don't know how the co-resonance is going to show up in me yet, but I'm looking, waiting, and being kind to myself while I'm waiting.
Yeah. Cindy.
I love the voices that are in my head. As I was listening to William, it was Joel Goldsmith that just lit up inside of me. And he's laughing. He says, if you think that the government keeps you safe, you got another thing coming. If you think that finances, that your ability to survive and eat and have the things that light you up comes from any aspect of the world, then he just starts laughing. He said, then he says, if you believe evil is in a body you call Adolf Hitler, just wait until Adolf Hitler dies and it drops into Mussolini. He says the divine is your supply, the divine is your relationships, the divine is your source, and any belief that it comes from anywhere else is a belief in two powers. And where are you placing your faith? And his voice lights up. Like there's a lot of opportunities to practice, but it's his voice that just lights up whenever I'm afraid about paying a bill or what's going on in the world. I'm like, what is it, sweetie, that you believe is more powerful than truth or the divine? And where are you going to place your attention now? And it helps, Joel is the one that helps me dissolve this belief in two powers. So thank you for the opportunity to say that out loud.
Richard.
I recently, the last few shares by William and Cindy reminded me of what Eckhart Tolle talked about. He was talking about wisdom, and wisdom is the balance between chaos and order. And I like to believe that government role is to be wise and keep the balance between chaos and order so that we can live as free as we need to live in order to wake up to what we really are. Now, we can all judge whether government's really being wise or not, but that's another issue. But I like to think of government as I'd like to say that government is the wisdom of balancing chaos and order within society, within the dream. So I just felt prompted to share that.
So we're coming to the end of this, and the words of the guides are in my head. I wrote it down. Freedom comes when the divine self claims the throne and knows itself of God in union with others. And so as this character that I am sitting in this particular home, I'm watching what's happening, observing what I'm finding. It varies. If I have to be honest, I try to be very meticulous with honesty. It varies. But when I am aware of the truth of who I am, the divine self, what overflows from me is compassion for all. All, no exceptions. What appears to be the victim, what appears to be the perpetrator. It's all appearing that way, but I have compassion and love for all. For all. And that line, they know not what they do, really applies to all of us. A lot of the time. So I don't know why I threw in that, but well, the freedom when the divine self claims the throne and knows itself of God. Amy is writing. What did you want to say, Amy? Just say it.
Just that when you feel your compassion expanding to more people, more things, more situations, you know that your awareness is lifting to the upper room. Yeah. It's a direct link.
Thank you.
The other thing I just want to say really quickly, Kendall turned me on to an Andre Duque interview with, I think it's Kai Dickinson, who did the telepathy tapes. And she says in there, and this is a response to Richard's statement about government and William, when we can all read each other's minds, when everything is truly transparent and our thoughts are transparent, we will not need government, and no one will lie because there will be no benefit to lying. And everyone will see that if they lie, they will be found out, and they will not be part of the whole. So, the transparency of thought, which we seem to be moving into, is going to be the part of the rising consciousness, and government will become obsolete. It's a tool now, but it's a very faulty tool. That's all I wanted to say. I love us so much.
So we're over time. Cindy, are we going to stop the recording? What happens next?